Yeah, today is a different video. We are going to IDS. We are going to see IDS for the first time. So, for a couple of Portuguese people, it's going to be fun. See something different than the fucking CPD. And we are the three of us. So, me, my wife, and the kid down there. It's going to be interesting. We are going to see the third round, whatergrasshill. And I'm going to record you a couple of cute cars and nice drifting. So fucking fish and chips everywhere. Jeez. Fuck. It's fair enough, it's good. Besides the weather. Close to that. No? Very good. Yeah. What?
Careful with the tire, because the car goes into the car.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. I'll be worried. Don't worry. Yeah. Thank. Yeah. We're going to try to die the best way possible.
bad with
I'm very?
very bad with videos.
It's strange. Poor guy. But at least he's there, and I'm watching. So.
Yeah. He's getting nuts out of the clutch though.
Almost, I
Well
think.
spotted though.
Yeah, it was, yeah. What happened?
40 drivers to take to the circuit here on Watergrasshill.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were speaking about, that fast initiation, let the car wash out, then hit the throttle, get the car steered into tipping point 2. Now Alex, he's got it in his locker to put it up to the Pro Boys today, and he's on that nice outside line, exactly what the judges want to see. Maybe came a tiny bit shallow there around the zone.
Yesterday on a dream weekend here, he's mixed it up with the pros. Can he get it together, Mike?
Yeah, his first podium in 4 years. Turbo BE4 in this BMW, turbo BMW engine, and the best beard in drifting as well, as we mentioned yesterday. And Matt, he's got the he had the best line yesterday as well, I think, of all the drivers at times, and looking very, very good here, Eddie. He has the horsepower, he has the experience from yesterday, and you know, we could have a dark horse here.
Yeah, he's certainly making it work.
Not many people can say that if you're watching which is considered quite important in Ireland, but Colin has more important things, Eddie, and he's looking good here.
He certainly does, has more important things on his mind as he goes deep into that second hairpin, taking the clips with him as he goes. And again, on the high from yesterday's top step podium finish in the Pro 2 category, and that will do his championship hopes. What his cousin can do as he makes his first pass up the circuit. First couple of zones right, and it all just flows from here.
Yeah, I really like the angle there that Christopher just dialed in. Now loses a little bit there, the rear of the car just hooking up. You can see those semi-stick tires digging in, but I like the angle that he piled on into zone 2 there. Just used the angle to point the car in. The judges putting big weight on the entry here today. Lovely on the wall there.
As he makes the long pull down that.
It does indeed, yeah. The car just tends to get very light and then hook up right before clipping zone 2, and just
David Wilkinson sets his sight firmly on that initiation point. Starting the scoring zone number 10. That first zone is definitely going to hurt the score here, Mike. Don't expect to see this one going anywhere towards the top of our scoring list. and Damien Wilkinson, you know, I think he's going to have to reset, try and get it right on the second run, but definitely a driver. He's going to have it all to do and have that pressure on the second run if he has any hopes of making it into 12. From Rory, 6 foot 9 inches.
Yeah. It's cool, it's like, yeah, whatever.
That big and he's getting better and better in field each round.
Yeah, well, Christopher. Yeah, Christopher getting better and better every round. As you said, very accomplished rally driver. Trying his hand at drifting now. I was speaking with Paul and the guys, Paul there and Chris Brown, Paul Striker from Paul's Party Culture Era 180 SX. And Eddie, not the season Alan would have been wanting so far, but another man with a winning.
Get back on the grid by lending me a GTR shaft. But yeah, look, it hasn't been the season that he would have wanted. I'd say borrowing cars not really ideal. You know what? He's out here, you know, doing what he does, but you know, more accustomed to seeing him as a championship contender, and usually at this point he's right there in the middle. Very hard to stop.
David Curtis is very similar. He has hot and cold times, but the hot days can be very, very hot, that's for sure.
David Curtis, and of course in his rookie season of pro here in 2025. So difficult to try and scrub speed into that section, Mike, as you know well, and David doing a really nice job. Maybe not perfect, but
listen to the abuse of the SR3.
Yeah, it's an SR definitely.
Getting the little SR wound up here on the very grippy Civi Slick.
The underpowered hero here, and a man, probably one of the few drivers on the grid here for a round 3 pro competition, praying for rain to make life a little bit easier. Such a difficult circuit for an underpowered car. Sean making it work to the best of his ability. A really talented driver behind the wheel, but we often wonder what it is he would achieve in a higher horsepower car, but making it work, missing some of those outside zones, and I'm not sure if that's going to be a huge score.
The thing is, I think
into 5th position. Can't you get it done here in Watergrasshill? Home track for Adrienne as she goes hard on the throttle. Managed to get the driver's side front wheel into that second zone on the circuit. It needs to be near perfect here from Adrienne, and she looks to scrub that speed into the second hairpin, around by outer zone 5 and 6. And this turned into a nice run here from Adrienne, but she does have too much lock. Has to straighten up. The costs are lying, and that's certainly going to hurt the score, you feel like.
Yeah, a bit of a waiver there from Adrienne, but you know, she's making her way into the. It's a BMW.
It's a BMW E46, 2JZ underneath the bonnet of this car. Was that round 1? It started round 1.
Yeah.
This car's got a lot of driving this year. You can see the amount of marks that are on it. It's been driven in anger. And David Garby, with limited practice behind the wheel of this car, did a really nice job in the early stages of this run.
Yeah, of course, Dave Garby was one of our judges previously, and good to see him back in competition. I'm very impressed by the way that
straight from the off, he's getting the rear end of that car nice and loose. Dennis Murphy. Joke with him yesterday, saying that we haven't seen him on the podium, we haven't seen him win an event, so maybe a little bit of a fire lit under Dennis Murphy this weekend as he looks to make his way back into those silverware positions on the grid. Doing a nice job. It's not the perfect line here, Mike. It is a little bit off. I think that's going to be reflected in the scores, but certainly for a first run. Competition 7 years, as we mentioned, out of the hot seat. What can he do in his first run of qualifying? Drivers now nearly over. Open it up nice, just a little bit shy on outer zone 3 there, but gets back in it as he looks to scrub the speed. Again, that line just fades away as he comes down by that second hairpin, Mike.
Yeah.
To get away from Dearman a little bit here.
Yeah, needed to hit the throttle a little bit earlier just to keep the car out onto the outside of the track for 5 there, but it's a better second section of the lap here, I have to say, today, and I think he might be leading the Pro 2 class, the youngest Davey, and did so with a foot in a cast. maybe he heard you, Eddie, because maybe you put him off thinking of all the money he's spending with 3 cars over here this weekend.
Like, oh God.
Yeah, I better stop. Maybe he just didn't want the tire bill to get any higher there and just shut it down.
Yeah,
But
look, unfortunately for
listen,
Davey, and you know, look, at the end of the day, he's here to have a little bit of fun. His main focus is going to be on his 2 kids, his 2 boys, and their own success, and they are really behind them in the championship and showing that they have. So far for the Falcon Flynn.
yeah, just a little bit of a waver there though on the transition, Eddie. Not a smooth transition. I think he lost drift for a split second there, so the judges in the pro competition are going to really mark him down for that one. You know, you have to maintain drift obviously, and better second half here from Johnny, nice and tidy, using the JZ power there very well. Could have been maybe a foot and a half wider there, but a good lap, Eddie, but a big mistake on the transition.
Yeah, look, definitely plenty of positives to take for that from for Johnny Flynn. Will it light up the scoreboard? I don't think so. Score drops in. Yeah, look, it's 67 there for Johnny Flynn. Inside the top 10 at the moment, but it's not going to be enough to threaten for top 32.
I think the live stream said 97 there for a second. People at home are probably saying what, but 67 that was.
So Jason McInerney leaves the line on his circle. Fires onto the brakes.
Look at the speed. Yeah, he had huge speed over the straight.
That back straight line.
Yes, so impressive. Possibly the fastest car we've seen so far. Jason McInerney making the step up to Pro Air last year.
Look at the line, like this is solid here, and it's just showing the hours on the simulator for Jason McInerney.
Wow.
He's ready to go. The Oma man fires it in like.
I see enough of him. But yeah, Damien McKiernan, always very, very entertaining. Absolutely all or nothing. Records or checkers. Love his style. Doesn't always work out for him, but when it does, it really does. And he's putting down an aggressive lap of qualifying here. Maybe not. Yeah, the big R33 Skyline. Carrying a lot of mass there down the hill of Watergrasshill, so a bit of a correction there as a result, I think, for Adam. But you know what? We've been saying that Adam is a driver with huge potential. Didn't show it so far this season. Of course, we are in reverse championship order. The runs will be coming in theoretically.
Strong season so far. Another good round here. Getting onto that inside line far too early. As you say, Mike, using the left foot brake.
Or possibly even just using the foot brake. I would say he probably had his foot on the clutch at the time, so using the foot brake there and locking up on the inside. So, or maybe was using the foot brake. I'm not sure. Lock up either way for into there. A little bit of trying to get his technique.
Gary, he's been on he's tight fifth in the championship, making the comeback to competition in the powered car this year. In practice, the rest of the run he seems to have nailed. He comes in with a lot of pace into that second hairpin and absolutely nails it. Gary Dunn on an absolute flyer.
Yeah, it's something that the Altezza seems to suffer with a little bit. We saw it in the hands of Dayashi Hart.
Darryl Barnett, the Armagh man, in the E46, 1JZ underneath the bonnet, 450 brake horsepower. Guy, well, you know what, he's a real talent behind the wheel. A very strong round 2. Showed us or reminded us, Mike, what it is he's capable of behind the wheel, and be looking to cement that this round here in Cork, and a track that should suit his driving style quite well.
Yeah, consistent driver, very experienced driver as well as Darryl Barnett, and using all that experience touring.
Yeah, said that he was really starting to get the grips with this car a little bit more, you know, a little bit of a transition period after he changed over to that 2JZ power. So far, perhaps could be a little bit deeper into those outer zones, but I think the likes of Halford, you know, he's a really strong line driver, and I think that he will just be holding back from pushing fully 100%, maybe, you know, about a 90% run for him in terms of his ability. And just collect those points as he goes again. So he's enjoying himself here this weekend. What can he do there on his first pass of the circuit comes in?
No no waivers, no little corrections or anything. Beautiful line there from Dean Byrne on entry. That's exactly what the judges want to see.
Yeah, Dean Byrne sitting just outside the top 10 in the championship, so it's been a successful year for him so far. He'll want to put himself up in the order. He'll have his sights set on the top 5.
Yeah, maybe wasn't quite as wide there on the side of the car, but inside the car, an absolutely crazy driver, showing us that crazy driver. Just up a little bit correct on the front, so slight correction from Bill Rogers. Of course, in the pro class, we are ultra critical. We are at the pinnacle of Irish drifting, and that is going to be a thing that the judges will mark him down for. But does drop a wheel there. I was just going to say the rest of the run is looking really good, but he does drop a wheel and reinitiates there. It's falling apart a little bit here for Bill Rogers. Unfortunately, the second half of the lap, his own car. He's in a borrowed car, that's for sure. Not sure whose car this is, but this is a borrowed, naturally aspirated BMW.
Hell with having all the power. I had so much fun in an underpowered Corolla. I'm going to try coming out in an underpowered E46 BMW. And you know what? Look at the line. Almost perfect around that second hairpin. You
listen to the clutch kicks to keep it going.
You can say that you struggle in an underpowered car.
Boy, guy.
All them clutch kicks. But he's making it work here, Mike. And I think, you know what? Jack O'Winnie. Last year, you could call Jack a pro rookie this year.
Yeah.
He's an incredible talent.
Really? It was the purple twin cam. Twin cam?
Well,
no. The purple twin cam, yeah.
Just comes out and nails the course every time. He'd like to be further up the order. I think he'll be a little bit disappointed that he hasn't managed a podium so far in 2025. But good round 3 time. It looks as though it may be based on this bottle.
The Drift Master driver making his way up to the initiation point down here at Watergrass Hill at IDS round 3. Back on line now, slight adjustment in as he faced it into clipping zone 2, but he's back on line here through 3, 4 and 5. He's on that outside line, picks up 6 very nicely, gets a switch back. Nice late transition there from Fionn. Now he's going to have to hit the throttle as hard as possible here. Yeah, does get the car on the wall, and it's a stick 32, but this guy needs to qualify highly. It's Ryusuke Akiba.
Yeah, well, he's done nothing but that this year. A little bit down the order at round 2. Would have liked to go further. That track knowledge, Eddie maybe doesn't have that level of track knowledge that the Irish guys do. This first corner is very, very, very difficult. It really is a challenge, and what's interesting is that in practice on his first run, he actually showed no signs of happening in the real. But it's starting to heat up as well out there, Mike. So that track condition is changing all the time. He won't be happy with a third place step on the podium at round 2. He was the top step here in Watergrass Hill. Can he take the title of King of the Hill? Well, he's had that title many a time before, but he's going to start with a big run here in qualifying. And Dwayne McKeever is Wow, I don't know. The aggression might just be getting the better of them a little bit. Dwayne McKeever sending the car a little bit wide there. I don't think it's going to be nerves in Dwayne McKeever, but you know what? A little uncharacteristic mistake there from Dwayne. He's going to have to have a perfect second half of the lap if he wants to get into the 80s, Eddie. Yeah, look, at the end of the day, this is Dwayne McKeever we're talking about. It won't bother him too much.
It's almost hard to listen to. David Curtis fires into the makes the four-banger screen, that's for sure. Now we're filling up Watergrass Hill here with smoke, Eddie, and it's looking like a tidy lap once again from Dave here.
This is, if he can keep this going, almost perfect. He's been glued to the very extremities of the circuit here, on that wide line the whole way around. Shadows up just a little bit there as he comes through that up the hill. Maybe that'll hurt the score a little bit, but I think he leaves the line.
John, what?
What? Well, he's in the show. He'll be delighted in 22nd position, 71.7. On the perfect qualifying line, shallows up and misses outer zone 3 just to try and maybe sacrifice that line to get perfect through the second here.
Drops the wheel a little bit though, Eddie.
It certainly does. Just maybe not to be too harsh on that. Definitely will have bled points by missing the fourth zone. And you can see just how shallow up. You know what, Mike? This sort of power, you have to make sacrifices. You got to say, well, where can I be good?
Adrian Wheatley's in 30th position, guys. She can't be knocked out of the position, so off the paper here. for the competition here. Watergrasshill veteran lady, she knows this track as well as anybody, and you know what? This lap is looking a lot better.
Yeah, Adrienne absolutely stepping it up here. Does come a little bit shy there, just as she comes around the second hairpin, but I think this is a big improvement. She keeps it going. Nice wide line, just tucks in.
Oh, just tucks in there,
I
yeah.
think that's going to help the score, but I think she's on for an improvement on the first run. That's 63. He's on a 71.7. Mike, I need to catch my breath.
Yeah, borrow a car from the park. And unfortunately for Dave Gavin, the borrow car was just catching out a small bit and totally missing inside zone 2 there, and he is in 24th position so far. Probably safe for qualifying, Eddie, but you know, as we mentioned, you have to qualify high if you want to get that at least theoretical. Oh, and a big drop there for Dave Garvey. It's all falling apart here. You have to qualify highly if you want to get that handier draw for this half 32.
Yeah, I'd say he's going to need to bump that up.
Yeah, definitely needs to improve as well. Does Dennis Murphy in the veteran as well. Dennis Murphy, Corkman also, so just about an hour from this track, so a relative local. Now, does he run a little bit wide there? Doesn't actually, just about manages to keep the car on track, I would say, and you've got to love Dennis Murphy's driving style. Absolute hilarious man outside the car, but not a perfect line there on the second hairpin, quite Adrian Wheatley-esque, maybe not on the top.
34th position. He's only got a 39.3 on the board. We talked about how well the car looks. Well, it's he's here for one of the craziest sports in the world. It is drifting. And Kieran Casey just comes a little bit shallow there, Mike, and you can just see how that affects the exit clip of that hairpin. But he gets back on that wide line. He's making it work. Look at the drum.
Yeah.
Incredible. Such a cool angle to watch.
What a fantastic angle that was. Not from Kieran, but from the drone. But also
the throttle really fast down that back straight as he tries to scrub the speed with the big angle, but it costs him on the line, Mike, and he misses that outer zone.
yeah, comes in a little bit too early there from 4. Looks like he kind of backed out of it a little bit and maybe didn't fancy going off track, so took the lesser of two evils there. Sean O'Curry has to improve here, guys, or he is not. This is shaping up to be a nice one here from Dermot O'Connell. If he can keep it going, does come offline though as he comes into that 5th outer zone, and that's going to hurt the score just as such. Yeah, old friend of mine, Eddie. I'll have to come up with some dirt on him for the battles for a bit of a laugh, but also I'm happy, Eddie. Yeah,
not sure if he's
and and you know what, Eddie? That was right there initiating. That was a fantastic observation, Eddie, because that's exactly what happened, and that could mean that Nicky Davey, his car might be right on the line of not being able to compete here after that mechanical in the first one.
There
it goes, yeah.
You know, make the judges' decision very easy, unfortunately for Nicky Davey.
Yeah, we'll try to get word from Nicky exactly what happened there, but I think the car was on the very edge of being.
Second run, here comes the Falcon, Johnny Flynn. In the show, and he needs to improve. He'd like to get himself into the 70s here.
You know, Eddie, I was thinking that his tyres might have lost a bit of temperature there. He was waiting a long time.
Mike, it was a long wait, and maybe should have been offered. Probably was offered, but maybe decided not to take.
Speed of this guy coming up from Pro 2, putting in a 2JZ into this BMW for Pro Action, and always showing great potential. Had a couple of mechanicals, still getting used to the car, but he's looking fantastic, Eddie.
This is good again, Mike. This is an absolute blinder of a lap here. It was an 85.3 on the first run. I don't know, look at the angle here. As he used the angle to scrub the speed up the hill, pokes that white line, big smoke screen,
right on the wall,
big speed. So it's all top end German cars. But here we go. Wait until Monday. McKernan is coming for it here on the second run. Again, Mike, the entry, just, you know, leaving a little bit to the imagination. And I mean, we're being really critical here because we're comparing them to perfection. We're comparing them to a 100-point run. That's what they're after. That's what we're trying to achieve. And McKernan, well, he's looking to improve on that 71.7 to bump himself up the order. But he big run from Adam Kelly.
Wires in the sky like that. Just a little bit early on initiation.
It's a split second thing, Mike. You know, if you're not perfect, that line just is. You can be an inch off on the initiation, and you can be a mile off.
In Kerry, an inch is a mile, Eddie.
Inches a mile, yeah. So you'll be a mile off a few metres later. So Adam Kelly, I'm not sure that's going to be an improvement on the first round, but he's sitting there inside the top 15, 11. You know, he just needs that little bit of luck.
Oh, it's misfiring big time, Eddie. It's misfiring over here. That's an engine killer. That's an engine killer right there.
Right in the
possibly.
exact same spot, and that is heartbreaking for Owen Magner.
You know, Eddie, these SRs, when you push them to that horsepower, this is a crazy 2 points. It's over 2.2, I believe. It's
Quite a bit because perhaps some valuable championship points to be attained. Jesus, just sees a little bit of a waver there as he came into that zone. It's so
just about safe.
It's actually terrifying trying to scope the speed into that zone.
It is, yeah. It comes up fast.
It gives me the heebie-jeebies, so it does. And yeah.
At least there's no wall.
Prince of Kildare, the man behind GDM Sport, and the man looking after a lot of cars this weekend, but he's got to look after his qualifying line here. Can he nail that second zone? Through the first
good entrance.
2 zones there, but the rest of it is just, you know, hooked up to perfection. His dad Tommy will be watching on in the pits with a keen eye. As well Andrew Kenna, who won't be happy with the abuse that the car is taking here. A little bit offline goes Gary Dunn, but he's got that score of an 80. Darryl Barnett now leaves the line 75. The score on the board from the first one. Full throttle of that 1JZ power, absolutely strangling that inline 6-cylinder engine.
Yeah, but a little bit on the inside line there, right here on the first hairpin. Not the line the judges want to see, so Darryl Barnett bleeding off points. Of course, the judges start this run on 100 points, and they have an electronic system where they can deduct points.
Over the hill.
But not a big one by any means. Tiny bit early there on 4 as well, but once again, minor errors, Eddie.
Yeah, they're small errors, but they will hurt the score, Mike. And like you say, when you're looking for when you're looking for that perfect score, when we're comparing off perfection, that's what the judges are doing.
Big angle there.
It's scored off perfection, and we wouldn't be doing our job right if we weren't out a 70-point run in this sleep.
Yeah, looking like an improvement already from Ben Rogers here at 64. Not the score he'd be wanting. Does come a little bit shallow there, but gets back online and absolutely hammers the S14 through the centre of our Watergrass Hill track. Picks up number 8. Beautiful on the wall, nice transition, and gets the car settled beautiful.
On Dwayne McKeever in a moment. Moini, the borrowed car, the underpowered hero, 76.3. He's in the show. He's got no pressure.
Look at this. What is he doing in this car? Like,
I actually prefer watching Jack Moini when he's in an underpowered car.
He has no business making this work like it is. Look, he has to drag the handbrake for 10 or 20 minutes just to get into the corner.
It's
and
still
still makes
line, Mike.
what a
run
driver.
is just proving how perfect this line is. Like,
He's dropping wheels and everything just to keep the beamer going. He's using the old dirt drop technique campaign back in Japan way back in the day to keep the car sideways.
Network for Jakob, and he absolutely wowed us. You know, he was the shining star in the Pro 2 Championship. Just to keep that car on the desired line. And this is again another stomper of a run here from Kuba as he drops a wheel maybe over that white line. I don't think that's going to hurt the score.
We have to get
this is aggressive, it's fast, it's fluid, it's got everything you want from a qualifying run.
Yeah, we'd have to get the goal line technology or the VAR for that one, Eddie. Might have just dropped the wheel, I think you're right, but it's as he fires it in over the iconic hill here in Watergrass Hill. Tiny bit wider, but a lovely angle. A really nice technique over the hill now. Picks up 3, 4, 5 as he goes along. Nice outside line, dials on the angle now to keep the car inside the lines. Picks up 6 on the way, gets it turned around, picks up 7 perfectly. This is a huge left from Fionn Roach. Feathers the throttle. Maybe could have been a tiny bit more aggressive there, Eddie, for it to be very, very critical. But overall, a very controlled.
Third in the championship, it is Harry Kerr on an 83. He won't be happy with that. He only sits in 10th position.
Whoa! Look at that. Tiny correction.
though, Mike misses inside zone 2, so that's going to definitely affect the score. I wouldn't expect to see this run go into the 90s, having done so, but he fills that second hairpin. Look at the smoke from the rear of the E46. Such an aggressive style, so excited. He's almost got the perfect driving style, you gotta say, for Harry Kerr. Uses that car as a tool, no mechanical.
He has to straighten up. He went for the big flick entry. The top qualifying didn't quite work out for him. He had a big correction. And once again, Eddie, I think that's track knowledge.
That is, yeah, I think so, Mike. Going for the big run. And, you know, you hit that little pothole. I hit it on Friday. It sends the shockwaves right up through your body.
Oh, it shuts it down for you. Say they're almost not the high 90s. Should he have a working car? He has it in his locker. Let's see.
He certainly does. He's done it time and time again in the past. Of course, he built his reputation. He won many championships by borrowing cars, and he's right on the line here.
Yeah, look at him feathering the left foot brake there.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's an absolute stomper here from Dwayne McKeever on his second one. Does drop a wheel though. This goes a little bit deep into the third hairpin. Throws it down deep onto the wall. Puts the car on power to try and scrub some of the speed. Gets it back on angle and across the line he goes.
Yeah, and wow, what a lap from Dwayne McKeever.
Yeah, the Mayo Menace. Look at the just backs off a little bit. Let McInerney make the transition.
Oh, big lock up from Johnny Flynn.
Yeah, as you say, Mike, locking up there does Johnny Flynn. And now starts to wash wide. It's starting to fall apart here for Johnny Flynn. See, once again, Mike, a near perfect lead line here. Adrian Wheatley, who's going to take that spot in the top 16. Adrian Wheatley getting gap down the straight. Dean Burns
Que é, amor?
through the circuit, sets that car up to be super grippy.
Não, só se eles forem ali a terra.
Ever so slightly though, as Adrian now finds her way back into this, which starts to get a little bit of proximity. She's going to need to put some big pressure on Dean Burns to try and force a mistake through the latter stages of this run. If she's going to have any hopes
Não, está
of
ali em
taking
cima.
a slight advantage into the...
Right, so Adrian Wheatley leads us in, flicks into Sylvia in his S chassis.
Dean Byrne definitely with the better proximity compared to Adrian's in the first run. Now Byrne looks for the pocket there, does find it, finds the quarter panel of Adrian's car, just hanging back a tiny bit and pops through the smoke, almost takes off the front bumper of his 180SX in the process. He's right there with Wheatley. Looks like he just has the pace here in the 180SX, Eddie.
Yeah, he really does, and it's such a super fast car. And Adrian, you know, doing everything, as you say, Mike, doing a lot right there, and unfortunately, looking like it could be the end of competition at round 3 for Adrian Wheatley. But we are merely just, you know, fans like everybody else here in attendance. It is up to the 3 judges to make the call. Look at the dive there from Dean Byrne through the smoke onto the door, maintains that proximity all the way through to the end.
Yes indeed, Eddie, and we have a result, and Dean Byrne does indeed go through to the top 16. Adrian Wheatley bows out in the top 32. A valiant effort, but not enough on the day against
That's what it takes to take it all the way to a podium. Bit of a gap opens up here now as McKernan quite sensibly just allowing Rogers room to move on the transitions on the back straight, but now looks to make a dive onto the door and really apply the pressure through the final couple of stages of the run. But look, the lead line here from Rogers, Mike, absolutely nailed it once again. Opens the door perfectly for McKernan to make the dive, and he does. Waits for the green light to go, and then here we go, McKernan losing traction on the rear wheels, off the line, he goes around that bend. And Rogers holds back. Ground here has to straighten up to try and close the gap. Sacrifices outer zone 4 completely to try and make a dive onto the door, but could Damien McKernan be taking down Ben Rogers here?
Oh, Rogers got in.
Rogers from Ben Rogers, Mike.
Way too hot there. Rogers making the dive, can't get the Sylvia slowed down and drops a wheel into the hole there off the side of the track.
You know what, Mike? Well, we talked about 16, which I believe, Mike, may be his first Pro Top 16 if he was to get the call here.
Yeah, I think he might be about to it because
Don't know, did Ben Rogers have the best chase of his life there? That's for sure. A couple of mistakes. Just worth noting as well, guys, if you're watching at home or here at Watergrass Hill, the lead car has to stay within 2/3 of the track width on his own side. So he can use 2/3 of the track width on the left hand side while leading. We saw a couple of times yesterday the lead car actually went across the track a little bit, and they will be penalised if they do that. Not that DMAC did it there, of course.
So, judges calling for replays on the initiation and first section of the course. So this one may not be as clear as it might initially look. The question that's going to be asked here, Mike, was Ben Rogers put off by the initiation of Damon McKernan? Did McKernan do everything that was asked for him in the driver's briefing? Was he on the perfect line, or was he not? Did he come in too soon? Did he do anything that may have caused a mistake for Ben Rogers?
Yeah, and you know, we've got a good crowd here today, guys, and if you want to see the replays that the judges are watching back, get out your phones, get on YouTube on the IDS page, and you can watch exactly what the judges are watching here, and we're watching in the tower. We've got the drone footage here, and we're watching to see if Rogers was actually put off by McKiernan in the first corner.
Rogers putting it all on the line here for a spot in the top 16 at round 3 of the Irish Drift Series.
Oh! Aye.
Battle, it's not over yet. Sean Curry, all he has to do, we think, is put in trying to put him under pressure. The only thing the chase car can do here is put off the lead driver, show him the front bumper, put him off, distract him, do anything.
Would you believe it?
Would you believe
and
it?
you talked about it potentially being a gear change. Could it have been the same thing? Could it have been a gear shift that put it back? This is, oh my God, 2 zeros back to back. 2 very similar mistakes. We talked about Fionn Rhodes being in the chase position, the exact position. Donald, that crazy issues with the throttle. They've managed to get that fixed and back out on the grid, but he's just not able to hang with Dermot O'Connor at the moment, Mike.
Yeah, the Corolla looking very fast here. Unfortunately, the Sylvia doesn't seem to have the pace. Unfortunately there for Alan O'Loughlin, the borrowed car not working, the 180SX not working perfectly for him here, but you know what, he does find the proximity just at the end.
Of this one, O'Loughlin to lead in O'Connell. He needs something big here, and maybe a little bit of help from
was in trouble on the entry, but then Alan O'Loughlin with a huge error, the borrowed car, and you know what, Eddie? You've never
he's been around the block a few times. He'll have the experience and certainly has the ability to just keep himself within striking range. Yeah, you can see the shaking head. He's disappointed with that, Mike. He knows he had the ability to hang. You know what?
If it works to his advantage here, as both drivers hit the throttle, make the 6-cylinder screen. Lighting a ball up to a big angle from both drivers. Sean O'Curry slightly misses 4 there, Eddie.
Yeah, well, he couldn't get past this point on the circuit on the last 2 runs, but no problems this time around. It's Fionn Rhodes makes the perfect line, and Sean O'Curry, well, he sees the door open in front of him, and he runs through it as he dives onto the rear quarter of that S14 of Fionn Rhodes. Rhodes fills that wide line as they go around. Can he produce it right when it matters? Or will it be Halford taking that spot in the top 16? Here we go. Both drivers are try and open that gap with their full throttle. Contact into that second hairpin. So difficult to scrub the speed there. We talked about Ryu saying he needed to be absolutely perfect. He had to drive the wheels off that car to try and stay with Halford, and he just.
But Stephen Halford doesn't really do that.
Yeah, it's not the not the right position for Akiva to be in to try and force a mistake. He knows.
The amount of angle, Jesus.
Furious, Mike, because as you say, this was his opportunity. We spoke about how night bed and how perfect the run was going to have to be in order to take down an encore. For you say Akiva, after having two back-to-back podiums, two back-to-back second place finishes, it looks like he's going out the top. Starts to put the speed into it, goes full throttle down the back straight. Oh no!
Matt Darren maybe misses the down change, doesn't get the car reinitiated, huge mistake. He was so in it, and that's up to that point, but unfortunately all falling apart. Dwayne McKeever doing everything perfect as usual in the lead line in the Strom Wheels S15, and they crossed the line, and it was
certainly one of the best in the business when it comes to chase line driving as well. Big speed now as they go down the back straight. Darren throws on the anchors to try and scrub that speed before getting back on the power. Opens up a gap to McKeever as McKeever now comes hunting for the door, makes a big dive. As Darren just cuts the track a little bit as he goes by 7 and 8. Big dive onto the door for McKeever just to cement his authority on this one. Guys, give it up for Matt Darren as he crosses the line. Dream weekend, dream battle, and what a worthy effort from him up against one of the best in the world. And as Dwayne McKeever gets out, give it up for the best beard in the business, Dwayne McKeever and Matt Darren. More time. Really where it comes alive behind the wheel. He throws the anchors on hard on the front brake, just try and scrub the speed. Perfect in the chase position. Not a bad lead line here from Sean Owen Curry as he does everything to try and put off the chase of Fionn Rhodes. Those end zones, but look at the way Fionn Rhodes transitions onto the door through the final sections. They go. Give it up for Owen Caldwell to lead in O'Callaghan. First section flat out as they go down the back straight, and a huge gap opens up. O'Callaghan cuts the straight. Look at this, wheels off for Jack Caldwell.
It's 2 or 3 wheels off for Caldwell and the straight. A huge mistake for Caldwell, allowing Chris O'Callaghan to get back into the fight in this battle here. Caldwell making an uncharacteristic.
Sean, wow, with a massively sacrificed outer zone 4 to try and make that dive.
Judges
will have noted that he has the proximity mic. He'd have to cut the track massively. That's a big straight. And it's just started to show the longer the run goes on, the more mistakes that Sean Watt is having to make, the more sacrifices he's having to make to try and keep in the fight. He does a good job. Look, he'll know that he can gain the proximity. I won't think you'll see him going too aggressive here in initiation. I say that as he goes right. What level of pace is in the car in front of him? He just wants to go in the door. He's here to bang doors and take home trophies, and he does that pretty much every time he comes out on circuit. He's absolutely gunning for it here. But what about this for a lead line from Sean Watt, laying it down in an underpowered E36 as they take it across the line. Give it up for this battle, Mike. O'Callaghan in the lead position. Caldwell to give chase after calling that 5-minute rule. There's mistakes on both sides. Oh, the door swings open. Here we go, down the back straight. It's the wing. Oh! Body panels flying everywhere, and this one has just been an absolute calamity of, I want to say errors, Mike, but it's really been electric. Both drivers driving quite literally the doors off these cars. As Caldwell makes a big dive onto the door of O'Callaghan as they contact as they cross the line. 2JZ Power about.
Pulls out a massive gap here on Kuba. Look at the grip on Kuba's is 14.9, Eddie.
Yeah, so quick, and Casey just unable to match it. Really,
Yeah.
almost rolling burnout-esque, trying to match the pace. It seems like there's no wasted power in that car, Mike. It's just so well dialed. And here is Kuba. As you say, Mike, that car could be like a rocket ship. Kuba really starting to close the door there as Casey falls off the qualifying line. And I think quite a collected, calm, sensible approach here from Kuba as he peers through the smoke onto the door, applies the pressure at the right moments, gets himself across the line.
Wow, what a run.
Contact on the first battle. Will it be a cleaner pass in the circuit? As Gary Dunn allows know that he has the advantage, so no silly mistakes, no silly errors. Just gets grips up a little bit and he gets offline, goes onto the inside of the track. And perhaps issues with that car just looks so difficult to try and keep on angle. He's managing to do so one final time. Can he get himself around the corner here, on angle and across the line? Guys, give it up for Gary Dunn.
A big horsepower deficit. David Curtis with the SR. Definitely outgunned here power-wise. You can see this one here, even though David Curtis is just campaigning. The little SR20, it still has so much more legs than the borrowed car of Jack Mawhinney. And of course, if you remember back to round 2, guys, Jack Mawhinney working wonders in the borrowed Corolla with 170 brake horsepower in the wet in Bishop's Court, but not enough here in Watergrass Hill. The dry conditions that he's proving.
So don't be surprised to see him going far, but as you say, Curtis, he can be hot and cold. Needs to control the aggression here as best he can.
Curtis gets a little bit caught in for sure. Curtis is completely straight here, loses drift exactly as we said, and he could not maintain drift behind the slower car. Curtis with the little SR20 is massively struggling here, guys. Could Jack Mawhinney be about to pull off a huge upside? Look, Curtis, he can't hang behind the slow car already. The SR will not stay revving, he cannot.
Well, unfortunately we had to return a little bit early. Not feeling that well, and the kid is a little bit cranky as well, so we ended up at the top 16. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and follow me and subscribe, everything. So bye bye.